Welcome to the Building Heroes podcast, where we learn to build heroes in our homes to help our kids be prepared for their life journeys. Hi, I'm your host, Molly Christensen, and I love to encourage and mentor you on your path.
Dear Homeschool Mama, what is essential? Recently, I read a post in a Facebook group. The person who posted said that she had watched a video where the presenter talked about how a lot of what is taught in public schools is obsolete. She then asked others what they felt was really the most essential things to be sure to teach your kids in your homeschool. Now, there were a lot of different answers, varying from math skills to reading, to communication skills, to problem-solving skills, and curiosity. And some said their state requires math, reading, and writing, so you can start there. Now, I thought this was a really good question because we want to consider where to put our focus. We only have so much time. We obviously can't teach them everything. So what does essential really mean? According to the dictionary, it means absolutely necessary, extremely important. But it is hard to really define what is essential in a homeschool because what is essential for one is not necessarily essential for another. And for some of us, we just choose what is essential based on what other people say or what the experts say, also known as the public school system. And that's why there's so many different answers. So to really determine what is essential for you to teach, you need to go back to purpose. You may feel like something is essential, but what purpose is it really serving? What is your purpose in homeschooling? What do you want for your kids? If you want your kids to have basic skills, then put emphasis on the academic skills, and that will be what you consider essential. And in that case, go ahead and copy the public schools. For example, the focus of public schools is reading, math, and writing. We can teach those skills with a lot of repetition, and it can seem that kids master those skills when they get good grades. But how helpful is a skill if we don't keep using it? As adults, some will do it because it's part of their job, and it's a skill that can make them money. Money helps with meeting basic needs, such as food, clothing, and shelter. It can also make people more comfortable because they can buy more things. But how many adults continue to do math, read, and write for other reasons? Because they love it? Because they have a problem they want to solve? Because they know that they can do more than just use their skill to make money, but they can also help people? But if you want your kids to know who they are, how to navigate life, know how to be purposeful in their direction, how to apply what they've learned to help others, then maybe you're going to want to start to rethink this all a bit. Now, don't get me wrong. I think math, reading, and writing are all very important, but not in the way most people use them. For math, most people learn how to calculate, but anyone can use a calculator or Google the answer to a math problem these days. Side note, I remember when one of my teachers said we had to memorize the math facts because it's not like we always have the calculator with us. Of course, we do now. Most people, however, have no idea that the very process of learning why we have math is all about seeing patterns, making connections, and learning to become very good problem solvers. We miss that magic when we're pushed along before we can make the connections, or we just memorize the algorithm. Or worse, we have to explore a math problem and try to make connections and try to solve the problem, but we don't have enough time. And we still have to get the answer right. So the problem is this: our educational system is putting all the emphasis on gaining information, filling our heads with knowledge. We live in the information age, though. We can get any of this knowledge with a click of a button. And this is what most of us believe schooling is. And we believe it is synonymous with being educated. He who can memorize the most facts and pass the tests will succeed. Or so we believe. But will a child really succeed just by having the skill of passing tests? Sure, it can open doors in our world, but this is where there is a disconnect. Shouldn't an education do more than just teach kids information? help them gain skills to get a job, to make money. These are not unworthy endeavors. It's just that I feel like there is so much more. In my opinion, the purpose of education is to help my children learn who they are and to learn that they have a journey to go on that is their own towards achieving their potential. Their potential means that they will become the people they are meant to become, and by so doing, will share what they're passionate about and help others. Along the way, I will help be their mentor and guide them as I lead them to character, self-discipline, and the skills that they need to fulfill that life mission. This does not mean that I'm going to make them take their journey. It is their own journey to take. What if the educational system had it all backwards? The focus in our public education is on building skills and getting knowledge so you can use it to make a living. But what if we flipped it around and we decided that we focused on building character and self-discipline, focused on helping our children find purpose and knowing who they are, and then we used academics as our tools in building the skills and gaining the knowledge we need? Recently, I read this little snippet in the preface of a rather famous little book on success called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And this is what it said. As far as schooling is concerned, many of these men had very little. John Wanamaker once told me that what little schooling he had, he acquired in very much the same manner as a modern locomotive takes on water by scooping it up as it runs. Now, of course, that's a bit outdated of an example, as we don't really run steam locomotives anymore, but the principle still works. If you put things that cannot turn to steam into a tank to operate the steam engine, it's not going to create any power for the engine to move. Instead of filling our children's minds with information or skills that doesn't really cause any activation or power to be created, why are we not focusing on filling their minds with possibility? Possibility, once activated, is a powerful, moving force. One reason why we're not is that it is not easy to measure how much a child's brain is activated with possibility. For efficiency, it is much simpler to measure right and wrong answers on a test. However, homeschooling gives us an amazing opportunity to fill minds with possibility because we can literally see when it happens in our children. We can see when they light up and when they get excited. Another reason why we don't educate this way is because we don't really know how to do it. We copy what we know, even though we all know that it is not the most exciting way to do it. And it does take a lot of pounding repetition to even make the basics stick. The thing is, it's not nearly as difficult as it may seem, especially in a homeschool where we have more freedom to allow our children to grow at their own pace. Lastly, I think we don't do this because we're too afraid to. What if we fail? What if our kids never amount to anything? This is a real fear and it's worth noticing. Part of this whole mindset is something we have learned in the public education system of rights and wrongs and comparison, because we think you're a failure if you're behind, but feel free to have good self-esteem if you're better than the others. What we don't realize is that every human being has great value. It's not a race. I think the big reason we're afraid we will fail is because we never took our own journey ourselves. We gave up. We chose to be more comfortable. We opted to do what everybody else is doing. We based our self-esteem on how much we failed. And yet we all know that failure is how we learn, but not if we don't get back on our own individual path and keep on going. Don't worry, I still think that your kids should have skills like math, reading, and writing. But I think those skills should be developed as a part of their own paths. I think academics should be used as a tool, not the focus, to learn more about who you are and where you're going. So what is really essential to you to teach your kids in your homeschool? It would be a great idea to think about that. And better yet, write it down. It doesn't have to be perfect now. You can always adjust it, but there is power in writing down what you want for your homeschool. Are you focusing on what is really essential?
Thanks for listening to the Building Heroes podcast. Can you help more people join the Building Heroes movement by sharing this podcast? More people can find it when you subscribe to the show, rate it, and leave a review. For more help on building heroes in your home, get the free Building Heroes resources at www.buildingheroesacademy.com.